Hello. I think we might be live. So, if we are live, I really appreciate everybody joining in today. And this is my first time ever being live by myself. So, I just want to say thank you so much for joining in. I see we got some people from India. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. And we got Ryan Skeffington, author of Lost Souls. Good evening, sir. How is it going tonight for you? Hopefully it's going pretty good. So, what did I say? How's it feel to have the coolest hair? I mean, I appreciate you saying that because sometimes I feel like I'm losing the hair, so that's nice of you to say. So thank you so much. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here again. I wanted to have this time and be able to just say thank you so much. Here we are, 1,000 subscribers in, about 4 months into my YouTube journey so far. So I just want to say, thank you. Thank you to everyone here who's been helping me out on my journey so far. It feels kind of weird actually to be live right now. So I'm not talking to anybody, just the chat. So hopefully this is coming across okay. And also hopefully I can be somewhat entertaining enough to facilitate this call for a little bit and just say thank you. So, thank you guys again for this call. Again, this is the 1,000 subscriber special, but also I'm going to be ranking my 2023 reads, which came out to actually 58 books. I know the title says 60 books, but algorithm, 60 is a nice even number. 58 wouldn't sound as cool. So I'm going to do a ranking of 58 books. And Ryan, while you're here, are you able to hear the music at all? I can't really hear it on my side, but I know I have it playing. So hopefully it's not too loud and overpowering. Because I learned that from my first live stream ever, being with Robert Vivix, where I think I had the music too loud, unfortunately. So hopefully you can somewhat hear it to where it's a little bit subtle and doesn't overpower my voice. So, I see we got 5 people in. This is great. So, just to get things started off, me ranking my 2023 reads. 58 books. As you can see, I have something on the screen here. And let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. I don't know. How about this? And then you can't really see me too much. Which is fine, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm down here. Can I move me around? No? There we go. So let's see here. Oh, Ryan, thank you for tuning in. I can hear it. It's a perfect background volume. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. And we got Ray here as well. Congrats on the 1K. Yeah, thank you so much again for joining tonight, and I really appreciate it. All right, so first book. This is not in order, by the way. So, from January to December, unfortunately, when I loaded all these pictures in, it did not load, according to when I actually read it. So the very first one here, might be able to see it. I'll bring it up a little bit here. Is Endymion. So this is book number 3 in the Hyperion Cantos. And some people, they stop right at Hyperion and don't move further into the sequels, which is completely fine because Hyperion is one of my favorite reads of all time, and that's a story that is just a winner by itself alone. And John A. Douglas, thank you for joining in tonight. Thank you so much. Go Orcs. For Endymion. Endymion. Where do I place this one in terms of the Hyperion Cantos? Because for me, as you guys know, Hyperion is like one of my favorite books of all time. With that being said, Endymion. I know a lot of people don't enjoy it that much compared to Hyperion, which is completely fine. But in my opinion, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great read. And in my humble opinion, it's going to be a A-tier book. And that might throw some people off because some people people did not like the sequels at all, but I really enjoyed it. And we got Mr. Christopher Navo over here, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the stream, my man. And we have Bo Kelly here as well. Let's do it. And congrats again. Yes, thank you so much. And here pretty soon, everyone who's watching us, well, you need to go over to Christopher Nava's channel and give him a sub right now if you haven't already, because he is right there as well, and he definitely deserves it. So go check out his channel as well. So yeah, first book, ranking A tier, Endymion. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. The next book, you might know this cover here. This is actually The Great Gatsby, right, which is a classic. I don't know why I was in the mood for just reading a classic book at that time. And have any of y'all actually watched the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? That movie was fantastic, by the way. So I wanted to read the book that inspired the movie to see how did it compare. And it was great. It was A tier quality for me. It was a fun read. The characters were fantastic. Some of the scenes were almost like perfectly done and captured within the movie as well. Overall, fantastic book. And I think it's the only Fitzgerald I've ever read as well. So I need to change that in the future. But great first Fitzgerald book right there. And it looks like the next one that we have is in the Song and Ice and Fire, with that being A Clash of Kings, which is book number 2. And I think almost any George R. R. Martin book is just an amazing experience to read, especially A Clash of Kings. This is actually the first year, or last year, was the first time I've read through all of the Song and Ice and Fire books. Because prior to that, I only listened to the first book, so I'm happy that I was able to get to the rest of the books. And I actually have the illustrated editions, which are fantastic. The first 2 books in that set have fantastic art. Book number 3, it's a different art style, but I still really enjoyed it. So, going to the point of this, what did I rank A Clash of Kings? In my opinion, that is definite A tier quality, of way above Endymion. I might have to change that. I might have to actually move that up in a little bit to S tier, because I'm going back and forth so far. That one was a fantastic read as well. So, next up, The Rise of Endymion, which is the last book in the Hyperion Cantos. How did this one stack up? For me, it was a solid ending to that series, resulting in a B tier quality for me. There were just some things in that book, though, that, like Dan Simmons basically said from the book number 1, the last book, he's like, you know what? Never mind. Let's just change it to fit this new narrative. That's my only problem, is that we had a lot of things change in that book number 4. But I would still highly recommend the entire Hyperion Cantos. Some of my favorite reads. And welcome, guys, everybody. Welcome to the stream again. One more time, I just want to say thank you so much for helping me get to 1,000 subs. It's really insane to think about that we got here already. So really, really appreciative again. Next book, you can kind of see it right here. It's going to be the first book in the Song of Ice and Fire, with that being A Game of Thrones. That one, it was so good. Definitely A tier again. It was a fantastic introduction into the world of Westeros. Some of the best dialogue I've ever read. And also, if you watch the TV show, which probably most of you have, the TV show is almost like a perfect adaptation to this book, almost scene for scene. There was so much just pulled out of this book direct into the TV show, which was fantastic. And you're right, Ryan. I have not done an S tier just yet, and I see one coming, though. I see one coming. The next book we have here is going to be A Feast for Crows, which is book number 4 in the Song and Ice and Fire. With this one actually being the last one I've read so far, I haven't read A Dance with Dragons just yet, or A Dance of Dragons. I might have said that wrong, but the dancing one. This one was good. It was good. It was still A tier quality for me. Fantastic writing. George R. R. Martin, you can't not beat some of his work. It's just fantastic. So, the next one. Oh yeah, so Christopher, you have the right idea in mind, and we might have the same idea here, which we'll see in a few minutes, or a few seconds actually. Next one is going to be A Scanner Darkly by Philip K. Dick, which is the only other book I've read by Philip K. Dick, other than Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. And some of you guys watching probably know already that I love Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. It was one of my favorite alpha cyberpunk reads. And also, Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies of all time. If you can kind of see it behind me, I have the Blade Runner 2049 poster right here, which I got off of Etsy. I have the Blade Runner poster on this wall as well. I got both those from the same seller. And what's interesting is I actually posted a picture of like my library in my office on Reddit a while ago, and somebody zoomed in enough to see that one of the words was misspelled on the poster, which was hilarious. So I gotta post it later on, maybe in Twitter. But going back, sorry, tangent there. A Scanner Darkly. This one was disappointing to me with it being a C tier book. I loved Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. A Scanner Darkly had cool ideas. It just wasn't at the same level at all for me in terms of how I love Do Androids Dream. Bert, welcome to the stream, man. Thank you so much for joining here. And right, you're saying Morningstar is my guess. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. We're going to see here in a brief second. The next one is called On Basilisk Station by David Weber. This one, oh my god, came out of nowhere for me. And I actually only read this because this is when I first started my YouTube journey. And I was like, what's a good idea? Let me ask a publisher, what do they recommend for me to read out of their entire catalog of books? And I asked Bain Books first, and they didn't give me an answer necessarily, but they reshared it and said, our readers will let you know what they think. And 3 names came up, which was David Weber, Larry Correia, and John Ringo. And for David Weber, On Basilisk Station was recommended from so many people. So, okay, I'm going to read it. I don't like the cover. I'll be honest right now. I don't like the cover. It has a weird looking cat on it. And it just looks old to me, unfortunately. But the story, man, oh my god, it blew me away. That's my first S tier of the night, On Basilisk Station. It had action, it had political intrigue, it had character growth. It had inner dialogue as well, which I freaking love. The first S tier of the night, On Basilisk Station by David Weber. And we got Chris right here. I have your book in this list as well, which we are going to rank later on. So welcome to the stream, my man. All right, the next one, A Storm of Swords. Some of you guys have already predicted where this one's going to go. This one is definitely S tier quality. That is just masterclass writing in its finest right there. It was just an experience. It's such a beefy book, but almost every single page is utilized to the max. Where there's not like a scene where it's like, okay, I'm getting bored now. There's no particular scene where I was not interested. It was just so much fun to read through. All right, the next one here. Yes, Christopher, definitely go check that out. I mean, it is so good. Grave Peril, which is book number 3 in the Dresden Files. And I'm slowly getting through these. It's in my agenda for 2024 to continue within this series because it's been a lot of fun so far to do this. And I actually listened to Grave Peril on Audible. The first two I read on my Kindle, which I really enjoyed, but the audio experience was fantastic. A fantastic narrator. Grave Peril had vampires, it had ghosts, it had demons. There was just so much packed into this book, and Harry Dresden as a character is just hilarious. So that one is A tier quality for me, going right above The Great Gatsby for me. So, next up here, you guys might have seen one of my videos come through a while back where I was covering the Animorphs books. And this is a part of my kind of nostalgic reads where I was trying to figure out and read books that were essential in my past. With that being the Goosebumps books and Animorphs. And for the life of me, I could not remember the story at all of Animorphs, but they had the most iconic covers. Unfortunately, Scholastic is pushing out new covers that aren't jiving with me too much, but the retro covers, yeah, they're good. This one here, I forget what it's called. I can't really see it. But I know it's book number 3 in the Animorphs series, and that one is definitely a B tier quality book. It was a lot of fun to read through. But books number 1 and 2 are definitely more of a great setup. But there is scenes in there that's very dark for a kid's book as well, which I actually remember right now. So, very heavy read for a kid for sure. Let's see. Goosebumps. So this one is, what is this one? Haunting? I'm thinking Haunting of Hill House, but that's definitely not it. That's a TV show. My favorite book. This one's the Goosebumps book, the very first one written by R.L. Stine, which was very scary, actually. There were some scenes in here that were very gruesome. And for like a 10-year-old reading this, oh man, there's some intense scenes, like literally scenes about how people's faces were melting off. So yeah, pretty gruesome. So that, I'm gonna go to 18. For a kid's book, that was fantastic. Now this one right here, I think everybody can recognize this little doll, this little dummy right here. Night of the Living Dummy, Goosebumps book. This one, whew, it was very spooky and creepy. Wasn't a huge fan of this guy. I mean, I love the story. It's just any dummy or anything that's like not supposed to be living and they're walking around and talking. It's just a no-go for me. And with that in mind, that's going to be a tier quality book as well. But right after The House. And the third Goosebumps book, it's kind of funny how this one was found out, is The Mask. Actually, I don't know if it's called The Mask specifically. I know the word mask is in the title though. This one was also very gruesome. Had a lot of fun reading it, and it's another A tier quality book from R.L. Stine. I'm actually interested to see here in this A tier quality row. We already filled this thing up. I'm interested to see what happens when I put it there. The next book is the second Animorphs book, which is called The Visitor, which was also a fun read. For me, that's going to be a B tier book, actually right above. No, I'm going to put it after. What was that one called? I forget. The third Animorphs book, I don't remember. I can't see it. But I'm going to put it right after. Just because the dark themes in that third book was very adult feeling. And this one, I think, is one of the most iconic Animorphs books, with that kid turning into a lizard. That's just something that you can't not look away from. But what is happening there? Especially when that first came out, I bet people just stopped and stared at this cover. It's just wild. So that one, I'm going to say A tier as well. Oh, that's right. Oh, cool. Okay. Again, guys, thank you again for being here. I can't believe we're already 20 minutes in. This seems insane. I feel like I've been talking for 5 minutes. So I appreciate all you being here. And again, thank you so much for helping me on my journey. It's been awesome. I can't wait for the remainder of this year to unfold. Also, as an FYI, Christopher Navo is on the stream right now with us. I haven't announced it yet, but we're going to be doing a book brew session here this week. Most likely. It's at a 98% certainty for me. We're going to be doing that, Christopher and I, on Thursday of this week, just as FYI. All right. Next book. Joe Abercrombie, The Blade Itself. This is one of my more recent reads. Actually, the second to last read of the year. This one, I think most of you have probably seen my initial struggles with this book, or even watched my video on it, where I was talking about how I was struggling up until the 60% mark reading this book. After 60%, that's when I really got into it, and I was really enjoying it. I was just asking myself constantly, when is something going to happen? I mean, Joe Abercrombie is just a name that you hear time and time again when discussing fantasy. So for me, this one, it ended up being A-tier quality. I'm going to put it right above Brave Parallel. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. It was a good read. I had a lot of fun. It just did not live up to what I was expecting it to be. And hopefully, as we move forward into the Blade itself, or the First Law series, I get more and more in love with that series. All right, the next one up is by Larry Correia, which is Monster Hunter International. Not the game Monster Hunter, but a book called Monster Hunter International, which was his debut book. And I can tell you that this book has guns galore. This is one of those books I read in my Bane starter pack video. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. The way elves are described, though, and depicted is hilarious. So if you like guns and you like action, I would recommend it. And I'm going to put it in the B tier quality for me. Monster Hunter International. Chris, thank you. All interviews so far have been great. I appreciate that. Because I try my best to get the time in and make sure that it's entertaining while also informative. So I appreciate that, man. The next one, Neuromancer. So this is a book that I read for my Cyberpunk starter pack video. And I really, really enjoyed it. Like, in that video, I was talking about how Do Androids Dream, Neuromancer, and Snow Crash are all cyberpunk, right? But they're all completely different in how you experience that book. Neuromancer, the biggest thing that I got out of it was just complete immersion. You feel like you're in this dark and gritty world of Night City, which I thought was hilarious that the city is called Night City, like in Cyberpunk 2077, the game. So for that one, I really enjoyed it, and I love how it was a cornerstone and basically pioneering the cyberpunk genre. So for that, I'm going to put that in A-tier quality as well. Pretty high up there. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The next one, Live Free or Die, which is by John Ringo, which is another book in my main starter pack. I enjoyed this one. I tell you what, this had like the most technical details I've ever read in a book before. But he was literally talking about how to set up space mirrors for pages and pages and pages. So I didn't enjoy that part too much, but the story was absolutely wild. Like, we go from scenes of maple syrup becoming a commodity and like a currency to galactic wars. So definitely a book that I didn't know what to predict what was going to happen in that one, but it's going to be a B tier book for me. Right there behind Monster Hunter International. All right. Ooh, here we go. First, Brandon Sanderson of tonight, The Way of Kings. So, in 2023, it's actually not my first time reading The Way of Kings. This is a reread. I wanted to reread all the books before I started Rhythm of War, and I'm really glad I did because I forgot how freaking good those books were. And I listened to all these on Audible, and those 4 books took up like 4 months of my time. Because they're freaking massive books, but freaking amazing. Yeah, maple syrup is currency. It was wild, but it happened. Way of Kings. That is S tier quality, absolutely for me. A fantastic introduction into the world of Roshar. All right, here we go. We're back into Hyperion, everybody. And for all y'all watching, I have 2 tattoos on my body, on my arm. One of them is related to Hyperion. I actually have the tree ship out of Hyperion as a tattoo because I love that book so much, and it really affected me. So I wanted to, have something that would be reminiscent of that book and how much I freaking love it. Also, I'm super excited to see if the Broken Binding team, they said they most likely will produce a Hyperion Special Edition Broken Binding version, which I would go absolutely nuts for. Because, as you guys know, Hyperion is my favorite book of all time. If that were to happen, I don't know what I'll do. Give me credit. So, Hyperion. Let's see here. Hyperion, The Fall of Hyperion, book number 2. That one's going to be A tier quality for me. I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people did not think the second book lived up to the potential of what was introduced in Hyperion, the book itself. But I feel like it was, you guys watch the movies Alien? All right, the first one was Alien, was directed by Ridley Scott. The next one, what was it called? Aliens, was directed by James Cameron. 2 very distinctly different movies. That's how I feel about the Hyperion books. They're both distinct in their way, but they share things that make them common with each other. And I loved both Alien movies, by the way. So that's how I kind of compare it to it. Loved it. Hyperion, I can't recommend it. And you're right, it's in my profile pic. Yes, there is. And hold on, we're demanding a recount. What are we recounting? Stop the count. You should do the Red Rising books order. Let's see, what do I have? I have the first one here. Okay, I will do Golden Sun before Morning Star, so when we get to that one. Alright, the next book, Wool, by Hugh Howey, which is the first book in the Silo series. This one here, I read this book after watching the Apple TV show, which is called Silo, on Apple TV, and that show was freaking fantastic. It sucked me in. It was just so much fun to watch. It was so suspenseful. It actually brought me back to the time when we were watching Game of Thrones before I read the books, where I had no idea what was going to happen next, and I had that same feeling of this anticipation watching Silo. So after I finished that season, I had to figure out what was going to happen next, which is why I read Wool. And surprisingly, I liked the TV show more than I liked the book, which is usually not the case for a lot of people, right? I mean, people usually love a book way more than the screen adaptation. But in this case, I mean, the book was good as well. For me, it's an A tier quality book, going above Brave Peril. So if you have not watched Silo on Apple TV, I highly recommend it. And the book as well is fantastic, and I would recommend that as well. And Derek, thank you so much for joining tonight. Thank you for joining in and stopping by. Thank you. Red Rising. So this one here, for the longest time, I put off the Red Rising series. For a confession I have to make, the Red Rising cover, it did not pull me in. I'm sorry to say that sometimes I do judge a book by its cover, but when you see a freaking amazing cover, I mean, you can't not want to read it. And this red wing was not pulling me in. After reading the book now, I see why we have that as the cover, and I love the book. Red Rising is top tier A right here for me. Fantastic sci-fi, and I would actually call it like science fantasy, at least that first book. The second one, which we'll get to here in a second, was definitely more sci-fi-ish. And Bo, which series you want me to convince you about? Convince me why I need to read the series. Was it Wool or Red Rising? We'll see here in a second. But yeah, Red Rising. Highly recommend it. I love it. I'm so happy that I got into it. Oh, okay. Red Rising. This is a story that initially, when I first got into it, I was like, okay, this feels like Hunger Games. It's just a bunch of people in an arena battling it out. But no, it's way more than that. There is just a single POV story that makes you feel emotions you typically don't feel when reading a book. Like, I don't know if you've read A Rage of Dragons before by Evan Winter, but that book made me feel, it made me feel angry. It made me want Tao to succeed. I got the same feeling in Red Rising, 100%. And the ideas are fantastic. The action is fantastic, and I couldn't predict what was going to happen next. So, we got BellTube here as well. Thank you for joining, Mr. BellTube. Congrats for you as well for just hitting 1,000 subscribers not too long ago. And you're already pushing out some more videos, which is awesome to see. So, welcome to the stream, my man. Thank you so much. Words of Radiance, book number 2 in the Stormlight Archive. I had such a fun time reading that book, and I'm just going to put it up here now. I mean, it's S tier quality for me. It beat out A Way of Kings, which I thought was absolutely insane because I loved A Way of Kings. Words of Radiance just stepped it up. And for you guys who have actually read this series, a character named Shalon, I did not feel that connected to her that much in A Way of Kings, but that completely changed in Words of Radiance. And I highly recommend anybody that has not read Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive to dive into it, because it was amazing. I also have a video discussing the first 4 books that I recommend check out as well if you have not read the books just yet. But most likely, if you're here, you read it. All right. The next book we have is Annihilation. And some of you guys might have not read Annihilation just yet. You might have seen the movie, which the movie, in my opinion, was a fever dream. I felt uneasy the entire time I was watching Annihilation. And after that, I was like, you know what? I need to see what this book is about, because I need to get answers. What happened after the movie? So in Annihilation, I got that same feeling of uneasiness. I felt ominous. I felt like freaked out. And some of those things, they were just so weird. So Annihilation, A tier quality book for me. And at some point, I need to go and actually read the next 2 books in that series. Let's see here. I'm still limited on my Brando Sando. You know what? I have not read any Mistborn just yet. I know a lot of people say that like Mistborn is just like a quintessential fantasy read, but I haven't gotten to it yet. Somehow. What else we got in here? Who else is in here? Not Hot on Kaladin. I agree with you. I like Kaladin, but some of the other characters just have a way deeper connection for me. Dalinar. Ooh. Adolin. I love Dalinar, Adolin. 2 amazing characters right there. Alright, so I'm going to go in order now. The Golden Sun was the next book in the Red Rising series, which was, holy crap, amazing. It stepped up everything I loved about Red Rising, almost becoming an S tier quality book for me. I'm gonna put it right above Way of Kings, to be honest. Golden Sun was funny, humorous, action packed, and just something that I can't wait to reread in the future. And actually, I have special editions of these books, at least the first 3 in the trilogy, or the first 3 in the series, coming in like mid next year. So we'll see what those look like. But Morningstar, what? Oh, hold on. Before I get to Morningstar, Golden Sun, the ending of Golden Sun. Oh my god! I literally my jaw dropped after I read that last sentence. That one, I had to instantly start Morningstar right away just to see what happened. Morningstar had a fantastic conclusion, and I'm going to put it right here in the SP quality. It's had a fantastic ending, which I think really satisfy anyone reading this series. It was just a fantastic ending with more action-packed drama, and some of the best dialogue ever. Howlers, I mean, who cannot get behind the Howlers, right? So, whole Red Rising series, I recommend that one more. It's just, I'm a loss for words, to be honest. Morningstar, Golden Sun, Red Rising, fantastic books. I highly recommend it. And 2024, I'm going to get into the remaining books in that series because I have not read the last 3. I think there's 3 out already that are in the new trilogy or the new second series in Red Rising. But eventually, I'll get to it. All right. So this one, Lathe of Heaven, is my only Ursula Gwyn, or was it Ursula G. Gwyn? Ursula K. Gwyn. I might be saying that completely wrong, but Lathe of Heaven is my only Gwyn book that I read. And this one was a mind trip. It's a very short read. I think it was like less than 200 pages, but the plot in this was absolutely insane. It was basically if your dreams actually alter reality, so whatever you dream affects what happens in reality when you wake up. And everyone else is unknowing of what just changed. Like it's their actual reality to them, but you wake up knowing that your dream just changed reality. So that was insane. A-tier quality for me, going above Annihilation. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Ursula Le Guin deserves attention. I agree, because that first one I read was good. And Chris, you're going to catch up on Sun Eater and then Red Rising. I think it's a good plan. I definitely recommend that. And Timothy Wolf is here. Welcome to the channel, sir. Thank you so much for joining. I'm excited to get into your series as well. And also, thank you for being one of the first patrons ever of BiblioTheory. I really, really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough on that. So, welcome again. All right, Oathbringer, book number 3 in the Stormlight Archive was a fantastic fun read. A good continuation of the Stormlight Archive series. With that being A-tier quality for me, very high A-tier quality, at the top of A-tier. It was a fantastic read, but it did not live up to Words of Radiance, in my opinion. But I still had a lot of fun. And we'll get to Rhythm of War here in a little bit, so we'll see where that lands for me. But I still enjoyed Oathbringer. It was a fantastic continuation, and I love all the characters and how it's continued to grow. Especially Dalinar. His arc is just fantastic. Oh, here we go. We got 2 Blade Runner, which is actually called The Android's Dream of Electric Sheep, by Philip K. Dick. With this one just being S tier quality for me, but at the tail end of S tier quality. If you guys have not read this book just yet, it just makes you question what it means to be human. And I love books that do that. And they just really get into your emotions and just make you just question and present big ideas in terms of empathy and where the future of humanity goes in terms of androids, emotions, and just the overall underlying theme of human. So, Blade Runner, love it, and it's also one of my favorite movies of all time too. So, we got one of my favorite books, one of my favorite movies. What's crazy though, I am so happy that Denis Villeneuve directed Blade Runner 2049 because he's just the perfect director to adapt that idea into a full-fledged movie. And I love Blade Runner 2049 because it actually took a lot of ideas from this book, The Android's Dream, and just compounded it into a movie. Unfortunately, did not do that well in the masses, but I love it. So thank you, Denis Villeneuve. Oh, here we go. The first Sun Eater book of the night. This was actually my reread of the Sun Eater series, Empire of Silence, by Christopher Rocchio. I still think it's absolutely insane that I got to interview Christopher Rocchio on the channel here. What's funny is that he is the only author that I've talked to that lives in the States. Everyone else is international, which I find to be hilarious. But yeah, Empire of Silence. As you guys know, if you've seen my channel for a little bit, it's one of my top ongoing series at this point, and you might see it like right back here. I have all the books out right now, front facing because the covers are just epic. But here pretty soon with book number 6 coming out, or 5, 6. This Quiet Gods, when that comes out, I might need to make more room on the shelf. I don't know how I'm going to display that. But first world problems. Empire of Silence, A-tier quality for me, going right above Oathbringer. Oh, here we go. We got Mr. Bargaflarg on the call tonight. And this guy, he has some amazing gaming content. If you love gaming, he covers games that you typically have never heard of before. And he's actually a personal friend of mine, so go check out that channel later on. He's hilarious. Thank you for being here, man. All right. Where the Crawdads Sing. Next book here. I read this book thinking that I'd make a video on it and that it would do well because Where the Crawdads Sing was one of the top selling books of all time for like 2 years straight, something like that. And I thought the book was good. It was a good read into a coming of age story for a story about someone that's being left alone basically and how she deals with that and surviving and being basically just abandoned. And I feel like it was a fantastic read, being a A-tier quality book for sure. And that's actually my worst performing video on the channel, which I understand it's not outside the typical fantasy being sci-fi, so maybe I just had a bad thumbnail. I don't know, but I enjoyed it. The movie was okay. The book is way better in this case. And we got Mr. King Crusoe. I hope I said that last name right, by the way. But yes, thank you so much for joining tonight. I can't believe it as well, getting to 1,000 already. It's kind of insane. But I appreciate you joining tonight. And for everyone watching this back, definitely go check out his channel right now. I know he's going through all the Senator books. And I think he's actually reading not Dregs. You're reading The Quiet Gods right now, I think. So you're getting that the Bane first look at it, which I know I can do as well. In the middle of rereading the Senator series, so I don't want to spoil it for you just yet. But yeah, when you release that review of The Quiet Gods, I am going to read it for sure, or watch it for sure. And The Android's Dream is a beautiful book in folio. It is. It has some fantastic art in it as well. It's also packaged with a Scanner Darkly, and unfortunately, as you can see, Scanner Darkly is down here, unfortunately, but we got Do Android's Dream in there. All right, next book, Snow Crash. This is the third cyberpunk book I read in terms of the essential reads in the cyberpunk genre. And for you guys watching, you guys know that I love the cyberpunk genre. I actually had an interview with Tim Hawken, who is a cyberpunk indie author who wrote Spiral Switch, which I actually have in here later on, which I loved. But Snow Crash, again, cyberpunk, but completely different compared to Neuromancer and Blade Runner. For me, Snow Crash is going to be A tier quality as well, coming in right above Wool. I loved Snow Crash. I love Neuromancer more, and I love Do Android's Dream even more in that. But Snow Crash, I love how language was used in this book, where language is basically the building blocks of how reality is shaped. I loved how it was used. And I also love how in this it was called the metaverse, like the VR world. Metaverse. That sounds kind of familiar to you? Right? Have any of you actually been into the Facebook metaverse before? I have not, but I don't know if I need to because they don't look so good. David, thank you so much for joining tonight, and thank you for supporting the channel. I've seen you commenting on a lot of videos, so I just want to say thank you. And Chris, you're saying you remember seeing Blade Runner in the movie theater with my dad? Yeah, I understand that. When I first saw the movie back when I was like a teenager, I had no idea what was happening. And at some points, I still don't remember, or still don't know what's happening. But I love it. Fantastic movie. And Salone, I agree with you. The narrator was a fantastic person to narrate that book. And that narrator just actually, the last book I just listened to, I can't remember what it was. What was it? I'm forgetting. But he just did, he narrated Jurassic Park. The same guy who did Do Android's Dream directed, actually I have it right here, Jurassic Park. This is actually the combined set that has Lost World in it as well. The same narrator, which was a fantastic guy. I don't know what is about it, but he's a fantastic book. But, sorry, getting back to the video here, the ranking. Dune Messiah. This is book number 2 in the Dune series. This one, a lot of people are mixed about Dune Messiah because it is a complete tone shift compared to Dune. In Dune, we have a lot of hope. In Dune Messiah, there's a lot of negativity, a lot of despair. But I still loved it. That's going to be A tier quality for me. Right after Red Rising. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Putting it in A tier. I love Dune Messiah, and I'm super excited to see how me or Move adapt to Messiah. Because it's not very action-packed at all. So I'm interested to see how he can make that appeal to a mass audience. Here we go. Dune. Which is interesting to see we're doing Dune right after Dune Messiah. Dune, as you guys know, is one of my top reads of all time. And as you can see, I'm leaning towards S tier already. With that being... yeah. I'm going to put it right here. Dune, S tier. Loved it. I know a lot of people can't really get behind that one sometimes. Especially how... like, I know there's one criticism about how, like, the entry scene, every chapter, you know how there's, like, a person talking, or, like a text. And it kind of gives away some of the, like, suspense scenes throughout the book. But I feel like it just gives more of a way to better connect to the world. And this gives more context for you to learn about this insane mythos and the world building and Arrakis. Dune is just a fantastic read. I'm rambling. Dune, Estia, really enjoyed it. Okay, here we go. The last book so far that is out currently from my archive being Rhythm of War, which I enjoyed. I did not love it. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna put that kind of in the mid eight. I'm tempted to put it in deep. No, I'll put it in A2. It was still a fantastic read. It just didn't have as many crazy scenes as like um Words of Radiance. Words of Radiance, that's just top tier quality right there. I don't know what book can top that. We'll see if the next book in the Stormlight archive, which comes out in December, how that stacks up compared to uh, the first four books. So we'll see. All right, Elder Race. So this is my first Adrian Tchaikovsky. I hope I said that last name right. And I know this is an author that's just like a go-to science fiction author. And this is basically a novella. It was like only 150 pages, if that. And I wanted to read something by Adrian because I haven't read him before. And I freaking love Elder Race. Making that A tier quality for me. I'm going to put that right here. Actually, after Rhythm of War. Elder Race is a story about basically a princess, which kind of sounds like a fantasy read, right? Basically, a princess on the hunt looking for a wizard to help her save her tribe, her place from a demon, which sounds super fantasy. But then there's this whole split that's completely sci-fi in the story that I was not expecting at all, and I loved it. Also, language is used as a element in this book as well, in terms of how language is used and how people hear one thing while being said something else. It's just funny how to see how you can say something, but will it actually translate to what you're meaning to the other person that's listening? And I loved how that book did that. Elder Race. All right, these two here, Death Stranding. So this is a game. I love the Death Stranding game. Hideo Kojima. Oh my god, Kojima. Hideo Kojima. I love that game. And I wanted to read the novelization of it just to see how it compared to the game itself. And I tell you what, this was a fantastic novelization because it actually added to the Death Stranding experience. So if you play the game, you're only going to get more out of this world if you're interested in the game. So I know I was able to convince one person on Twitter, and they're going to read it here pretty soon. So I'm interested to see what she thinks. But I'm going to lump these two together because I have no idea why they split Death Stranding into two books. I mean, it's one game. But they said, you know what? We're going to make it into two books. Why? I don't know, man. More money? Maybe? So I'm just going to lump it together because it should be one book. I don't know why. But that's going to be A tier quality for me. I'm going to put it right there. Actually, above where the crawdads sit. Yeah. Right there. Great read. If you love Death Stranding at all, or if you like the game at all, I highly recommend it. Okay, here we go. Also, BellTube is an Android, everybody. Now we know. So I appreciate an Android joining on the call. Thanks for doing this. The next one, Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill. This is actually the second book I read by Mr. Cahill, with me reading the Fall first, which is his prequel novella. And the only way I found out about this was actually from Mike. Mike's book reviews. And I'm super happy that he was able to cover this because I enjoyed everything that Cahill has put out so far, with Blood and Fire just being like typical tropes that you expect within the fantasy genre. And it was just done or executed in a way that was just so entertaining. It just felt fresh. So, Blood and Fire, A-tier quality. I'm putting it up here. Right below. Actually, I'm gonna put right below Up to the Blade itself. That's a good spot. The Justice of Kings by Mr. Richard Swan. This was a very fun read. I did not expect to read a story about a traveling lawyer who basically has the power of a judge, a executioner, and also has Jedi mind like powers. So that was just an interesting plot that I was not expecting to read at all. Also, with this whole like demon dimension world, it was great. That one, A tier for sure, going above Endymion for me. The Will of the Many by James Islington. For you guys that are watching this, if you have not heard of The Will of the Many, this is James Islington's next series after the Lycanius trilogy. I loved the Lycanius trilogy. For some reason, I constantly think back to the Lycanius trilogy, like just random intrusive thoughts. I have no idea why. Like, there's this character named Talcamar that I keep thinking of his name. I don't know why. Do you guys have any random books that just continue to pop up in your minds randomly? For me, it's the Lycanius trilogy, so obviously I was excited to see what next James Islington had under his belt. And Will of the Many, man, that was a story I absolutely love, and as you can see, it's going up here. It's going up here. It's S tier quality. I'm going back and forth though. I'm putting it above the way it is for now. I might change that later. But yeah, Will of the Many, I cannot recommend that one more than enough. Okay. Let's see here. As much I'm curious to see anything in the D tier quality. Let's see. Yeah, I find it pretty interesting that at least the books that I've read, I have a pretty positive experience reading. And usually, I am not hard to please when it comes to a book. Like, if I find one little tidbit, one little nugget in there that I enjoy, I'm still going to say I had a good time. The only problem is that sometimes I just can't latch on to anything. And in that case, it was A Scanner Darkly until I came to a few scenes that really made me think about this technology and how it can be utilized in the future, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's very rare for me to absolutely hate a book. I can't remember a book that I actually hated. Or did really dislike. Brian Wilson, thank you for joining, sir. Yeah, I have your book in here. We haven't even ranked it yet. You came at the right time. Thank you for joining tonight. And congrats on your TBRCon video earlier. I watched a little bit where you're talking about endings. It was a great discussion. All right, next one. The Fall by Ryan Cahill, which is a prequel novella, is A tier quality for sure. It was just the fastest 90 pages I've ever read. Being... I'm through right here. Right above Death Stranding. Yeah. This is wild. I have so many A tier quality books. And I'm looking back, I really feel like these are all A tier quality books. I feel like I've had a very fantastic year of reading. I feel lucky I've been able to read so many amazing books, really. Let's see. Tyranny of the Faith, which is book number 2 in the Empire of the Wolf series by Richard Swan, which was another fantastic read. I actually enjoyed it a little bit more than Justice of the Kings. So I'm going to put it right above just the Kings. And if you haven't read that series just yet, book number 3 comes out very soon. I think like next month. I pre-ordered it as soon as I could on Amazon. So I'm just waiting for that to come in, and I must have that one up. Okay, here we go. The Fangs of War. I know EJ Doble is not on the call right now, or the stream. But this guy, I literally found this guy randomly on Twitter. I was just scrolling through it, and I saw this cover, and it just blew me away. I was like, I need to read this, because it looks amazing. And this is like, I think, my first Grimdark reads of all, like my very first Grimdark read. And I loved it. This is A tier quality for me. Going, I'm going to say right above the Tyranny of Faith. Like, it's that good. EJ Doble has become just a go-to author for me now. Anything he pushes out, I am going to read in the future. Absolutely. Okay. Next up, Ashes of Man, which is the book number 5. I got that right? Yeah. Book number 5 in the Sun Eater series. And this is actually my first time reading it last year when it was published. And I thought it was a fantastic continuation of the Sun Eater series, being very high A tier. And I'm just gonna put it right below Empire of Silence, because Empire of Silence, I think I'm just like biased for it, this being a fantastic read. And Empire of Silence, for 2023, this was my reread of it, and I just got so much more out of that first book. Where there was actually, like, you know how there's some books that have flashbacks? There was flash forwards in Empire of Silence. It's like Christopher Rocchio planned this series out, and you can tell in the first book. Okay. Real switch. Remember I was talking earlier about Tim Hawkins? This is one of his cyberpunk thriller stories that I absolutely enjoyed. If you want to read a book about a killer on the loose inside the metaverse, this is it. Real Switch was fantastic. I hope people check that one out. That one is going to be another A tier quality book for me, coming in after Elder Race. Yes. Okay, Fractal Noise. Okay, hold on, let's see. How good was the fourth Sun Eater book compared to the first 3? Book number 4. Oh, Kingdoms of Death. Oh my god. That one is picture pain, like Pain, and that's what you'll feel while reading that book. It's just so dark, it's so sad, but the growth in it was still just fantastic writing, and I would put that in probably S tier quality as well, Jesse. So if you haven't read it just yet, I can't recommend it enough. Going back to it, Fractal Noise. This is the prequel novella to Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini, who wrote Aragon, which you guys probably have seen before. Or, actually, you might have seen the movie. You probably read the book, because it's just known around the world. Fractal Noise. I was excited to get into this one because I really enjoyed Sleep in the Sea of Stars. I know some people had some issues with it. Do I think it was too long? Yes. It was like 800 pages. I don't think it needed to be 800 pages, but I still enjoyed it. So I was happy to see what else he pushed out. Fractal Noise for me is going to be a B tier quality book, though. It was good. It was a great continuation within the Fractal verse. I like he's calling it. It just wasn't something that blew me away, kind of like To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. The next book here, The Horns of Grief by E.J. Doble, which is book number 2 in his Of Blood and Steel saga. The Blood and Steel saga. I'm getting all his series mixed up. Ryan Cahill's Of Blood and Fire, where you have like of something and something. I keep getting mixed up on that, so I'm sorry. The Blood and Steel saga by E.J. Doble, Horns of Grief, is S tier quality for me. That's going up here, right above on Basilisk Station. EG Double, again, the guy, you just need to read his books. They're fantastic. S tier quality for sure. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. And we're almost actually getting done here with the books, so we're almost at the end of this. And I just wanted to say thank you guys again so much for being here. I'm actually just so mind blown that we even have this many people commenting right now and interacting with me and being with me in this journey. I can't thank you enough. Now, back to the ranking. Cyberpunk 2077, no coincidence. I made a full video on this book because it blew me away. This is a book I was not expecting much out of. I could not believe the quality of this book. Everything that you think that you like out of Cyberpunk, if you like a VR landscape, if you like heists, if you like big ideas presented in a story, you like technology, you like body modifications and cybernetic modifications, this book has all that presented with many distinct POVs that I really enjoyed, being another A tier quality book. Actually, right above Real Switch for me in Elder Race. And Christopher, yeah, you need to get to that series, man. You are going to enjoy it. I'm happy. I'm really excited for you when you get to that. Okay, let's see. Oh, here we go. Steel Empire by Norbert Jivix. This one I only found out about because of Library of a Viking's video on it. I'm so happy that he made a video on it because after I saw that cover, I was like, yeah, I need to read that book. That cover looks absolutely insane. I mean, when do you ever see a Cyber Leviathan Kraken on a cover? Probably not often. And I'm so happy I read it. It's a complete blend of sci-fi and fantasy, and I highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it. Being another A tier quality book for me. Right above Cyberpunk 2077, no coincidence. Okay, this one here. This one's called Empty Palace by Joseph Simoningo. So this one is actually one of my very first videos I made on YouTube, where I wanted to find a book that had literally 0 reviews. So I wanted to make a video basically saying I found a book that has not been reviewed at all on Goodreads, has not been reviewed on Google or Amazon, and read it and basically give my thoughts. This one was actually a good first book I read from this author, who's an indie author, by the way, who has, I think, maybe less than 10. I think it's like 7 books out. The cover drew me in. It's like a typical fantasy world where you have 2 opposing factions. You have a really dark and gritty antagonist. And I thought it was great. I reviewed it. I think pretty average, pretty good. It's going to be right here in the B tier quality for me, though. And I recommend checking out the author, since he does not have a lot of followers, I think, reading his books. Joseph S. Simoningo, with that book being called Empty Palace. Alright, here we go. We got Mr. Brian Wilson on deck here, The Forsaken Planet, with that being book number 1 in his The Power of the Stars series, which was a lot of fun to read. Thank you again, Brian, for sending that book my way. I'll tell you, I did struggle a little bit in the very beginning with a particular scene in terms of someone having a emotional response. Besides that, I thought it was a very fun story. I thought the image that you used that actually pulled me in to actually continue on your post was a fantastic image to represent what I was picturing in my mind. in terms of him having like that glowing, wispy looking sword, and the whole like orb thing I thought was fantastic. It reminded me of the bubble shield in Halo 3. If you remember that at all. Second Planet, A tier quality book for me. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to read the next book in that series, which I think the next one comes out in March. Putting that right here above Real Switch. Fantastic first debut sci-fi fantasy read by you. So thank you again for sending me that. And here we go. Yeah. Thank you again for joining tonight. Next book, The Crown of Omens, which is P.J. Doble's prequel novella in his Blood and Steel saga. That one's going to be a fantastic read. Another A3 quality book that I'm going to put right. I enjoyed it more than The Fall. I'm right here. Crown of Omens, highly recommend it. It was just so much fun. You do not need to read anything out of his series at all to understand what's going to happen. Actually, some of the characters don't even have names. They're used that sparingly within the story, but it was used in a way I've never read before. From chapter 1 to chapter 2, you'll understand what I'm saying. The transitions was wild. So read that one. Okay. Stillware. This is Tim Hawkins' prequel novella into his Thrill Switch series, which, by the way, this is a story that's 100 chapters of 100 words each. And I question, is this even possible? Can you tell a detective story in 100 words, or 100 word blocks? Yes. Yes, you can. With that being a A tier quality book. I'm actually going to put it right here, above where the crawdads. Yes, that looks good. Oh, Lost Souls by Ryan Skeffington. I can't believe we've already been here for an hour and 12 minutes. It's insane. Thank you guys for saying this long. Okay, Lost Souls, Ryan Skeffington. I'm moving this up. S tier quality for me. Right after Blade Runner. This was just a book that blew me away in every way possible. From the very first page, I was just mind blown. It had one of the most visceral scenes of coming out of what do you call it? Sleep, cryo sleep I've ever read, and I can't say more than that. I mean, it was just an amazing book that I'm so excited to see what you have in store for us next, Ryan. And I know there's a buddy read going on in March, because Ryan claimed the entire month of March, apparently. No other book can be read in March. Only Lost Souls can be read in March. So read that book if you have not read it just yet. It's one of the most gripping stories of just a father and son relationship that I've read. It deals with grief in a way that I've never read before in a book before. Like, if you guys have read Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, you would know that there is a heavy focus on mental health in that book in terms of getting through grief. Lost Souls does it does it better, which is mind blowing to me. So I can't recommend that one more than enough. Oh my god. Next book, it's called Eternal Dreams, right? I'm pretty sure it's called Eternal Dreams. So let's go ahead and send that to me, okay? I want it right now. Okay, here we go. And let's see. That's a good reaction right there. Okay, here we go. Will you ever read Malazan? Okay, I do want to read it. Have you guys seen that picture that the Broken Binding team put out for the re-release of those books? Oh my god, that just makes me want to read it so much. I do want to read it. I keep hearing it's so dense though. Even like Library of the Viking said that he really struggled with it. So, will I struggle with it too? I don't know. I haven't read it, so I want to read it. I'm definitely going to read the first one just to get a taste of that series. I already have it on my Kindle too. Okay. Your favorite series. Okay, so yeah, I need to read it. And look at that. We got it ordered, everybody. Lost Souls. I think you're meaning Lost Souls. And here we go. Yeah. Eternal Dreams, 2024, 95%. Heck yeah. And here we go. The last book. I don't know how this happened. Chris Ritchie, if you're still here, I don't know how your book was just the last one here on this list. Small Town Problem. For you guys who are watching this right now, this was a book that was like randomly read by Daniel Green. That I actually remember watching this video like a year ago, year and a half ago. I was like, yeah, that book looks pretty interesting, but the cover doesn't look that cool. The cover now looks very cool. And Chris Ritchie took all that feedback that Daniel gave and just enhanced the book. And I think, what was it? He added like 50 pages of content to the book, which is huge. 50 extra pages. And I haven't read that initial version. I only read the updated one that Chris sent me, and I loved it. This is a book in a few scenes that actually made me tear up a little bit. Similar to Lost Souls. Made me tear up a little bit. Maybe that's the way to my heart. It made me tear up a little bit. That's what Hyperion did. Maybe that's why I love Hyperion. I don't know. But yeah, going back to it. Small Town Problems was a fantastic read that I'm putting in the S tier quality for sure. With that being right here, right above Annihilation. Actually, right above The Lathe of Heaven. Just because if you guys like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, this is a book that you will for sure enjoy because there's a huge focus on friendship, a huge focus on science, and overall, fantastic dialogue. There we go. Small Town Problem. And you kept looking for it. I don't know how you turned out to be the last one, man, but here, we made it. Okay. Wow. There it is. All my reads ranked for 2023. And it wasn't 60 books exactly. It was 58. So, pretty close to what I said. But yeah, I can't believe we're already an hour, 17 minutes in. This is insane. But looking at this, I think this is a pretty good list here in terms of S tier. We got Game of Thrones, we got Words of Radiance, Dune, Golden Sun, On Basilisk Station, which was just a complete surprise for me. Blade Runner, Lost Soul. Oh yeah, this is I think it's definitely my S tiers for 2023 for sure. All right, that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Again, thank you so much for joining tonight and helping me on my journey in this whole booktube space. It's been a wild ride already. I'm having so much fun making these videos and reading all these books. I still think it's insane that authors reach out to me and like, hey, can you read my book? I think that's still insane to me because I'm still kind of new at this. And I love it. I'm having a great time. Can't wait to see what 2024 has in store. The next video that should be coming out here pretty soon is actually a bookshelf battle where I got some of your favorite booktubers to send me a picture of their shelf that I'm going to battle. Probably not in the way that you're thinking, but it's going to be a fun video. So look forward to that here pretty soon. And yes, thank you, Brian, for being here. Looking forward to the battle. Thank you again, Christopher Navo, for joining tonight. And yeah, thank you. Again, everybody, Christopher Navo and I are going to be meeting here pretty soon this week. So be on the lookout for that announcement here pretty soon. Should be this Thursday. And look at that. We got Kid and Love here. Elegy of a Fragmented Vineyard. Go check out that Kickstarter today. I'm backer number 1. I'm happy to say that. Yes, so somehow I was backer number 1 for the Threadlight Kickstarter too. I don't know how that happened, but I just like to be back number 1 somehow. But yeah, thank you, Caden. But okay, guys, that's all I had for you, and I appreciate you joining tonight. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Thank you so much for joining me for this hour and 20 minutes. Insane. And I will be talking with y'all very soon. So, don't forget, you guys earned 2 XP tokens. And pretty soon, I'm going to do something with those. You might have a whole pile of tokens right now. You're going to be able to use those tokens. For what? You're going to see. Alright, guys. Have a good one.